he's overcome the idea of like, yeah, I look like a rock, but these are ways that people can accept me. But now he's just lonely because he doesn't have anybody outside of his family. And that is a really interesting dynamic to double down on and get into. And they're just like, nope, we don't have time for this. Fast forward. Like,
the next Fantastic Four movie will be called Fast Four.
My last review was there's so much fancy Dominic Toretto owns this on 4K Blu-ray.
Watch the crossover happen between Fast and Furious
might as well.
Fantastic Four. There's so many
F's.
There's so many F's in the name. It has to happen. You're listening to All My Friends Are Movie Fans. I am Thomas Stoneham Judge, here to host conversations about what's new and relevant in film with my friends who are movie fans. We've returned from Earth 828 and are ready to discuss the Marvel's latest MCU entry, the rise to the challenge of saving Earth from the planet-eating giant Galactus, and my panel and I will rise to the challenge of determining whether the got their flame on, or if this newest iteration of the team got clobbered. The friends joining me in this episode are film critic and at Nerdbot and co-producer here at ForReel, Derrick Murray.
I am so terrified that Thomas now has his own soundboard. This is a new leveling up. This is him going into space and coming back with cosmic powers. And I am. Oh God! What have we done?
I have the power. We also have founder and editor-in-chief of Mainly Movies, Alyssa Vitale.
Hi, great to be here. Or should I say fantastic to be here as part of this group of four to talk about Fantastic Four.
Love it. Welcome. And we also have founder and editor-in-chief at The Celluloid Correspondent, Elizabeth Malloy. I did that wrong last time, too. I'm so sorry. Malloy.
Oh, it's all good. Hello, everybody. Looking forward to discussing the Fantastic Four.
All right, guys. I'm really excited. I mean, so we've had a lot of blockbuster films this month, including another superhero movie that some of us got to talk about a couple weeks ago, which was Superman. And in the wake of that, there was a lot of speculation on whether Fantastic Four would be just as fun, just as entertaining as Superman, and will Marvel get their mojo back? So we're going to discuss that in a minute. But as we also know, there have been a few other iterations of Fantastic Four in the past, and I think that's a good place to start. Let's talk about how we felt about Fantastic Four leading up to this movie. Derrick, why don't we start with your experience with the previous Fantastic Four movies?
Yeah, so I am old enough to have seen all of them in theaters. Some regretfully, some maybe not so much. I think the original Fox ones are trapped in that time capsule of early 2000 cinema. They're all just very defined by those restrictions and kind of trial and error of what we were doing. This certainly predates, Marvel as we know it today. And I think we don't forget because we have Deadpool and Wolverine to remind us that Fox existed. And so I don't know. I didn't go back and revisit them. I don't have extremely fond memories of watching them other than a very young teenage crush on Jessica Alba, which who can blame you, and when it comes to the 2015 version, I treat that very much like Godfather 3 and just pretend it doesn't exist.
Elizabeth, what's your experience with the previous Fantastic Four movies?
So the Fantastic Four films from like the mid-2000s were kind of the ones I grew up with. I remember seeing them in theaters. Like, I think I was like 7 when the first one came out and 9 when the next one. So, and I remember growing up with them, and I remember that was sort of the time when the superhero genre was just starting to take off, but it was also still trying to find its footing. I think with those, looking back on it, I think they do get some stuff right, but also a lot of stuff wrong. But I do think they have like their own maybe a little bit of charm to them.
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of like meh, a little bit forgettable, while Fan Four Stick was just, yeah, like Godfather 3, don't pretend pretend it doesn't exist. I think I saw it once and I'm like, okay, I do not want to watch this ever again.
Alyssa, what's your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have a similar experience to both Derek and Elizabeth. Seen all of them in theaters. I was a teenager when the first ones came out, and I'll say I don't think any of them are good, but I do think those Fox ones, kind of like Elizabeth said, have some charm to them. There's a certain stylistic quality that I think those kind of early 2000s Marvel movies all had, that's different from the MCU, but still kind of its own cohesive thing, even though it wasn't a cinematic universe, obviously. I definitely have a bit of a nostalgic soft spot for the first one, I think. I don't think it's a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoy it. Never really liked Silver Surfer as much, but it was okay. And yeah, the 2015 one, again, I'll reiterate what they said. Godfather 3, not a fan of it.
which is amazing. I love that she's got both of them displayed in her background.
Yes.
As a film critic, I tend to scan backgrounds of cinema a lot of times when I'm watching movies to get everything in frame. And so as I'm watching her talk, I'm like, wait, oh yeah, no, that's them. She's got them.
That's them. There they are. Yeah, I revisited the early 2000s Fantastic Four, and it's interesting because like I have a nostalgia for them. I don't know why, but I do. And so I went back, like, is that nostalgia warranted? And what's interesting is I think the nostalgia is warranted. I do echo that they're not good. I would not throw these on for fun. So this was definitely homework. But in doing that homework, I think I recognized things about it now as a film critic, then that I didn't really pay as much attention to 10, 15, 20 years ago, whenever I watched it back then. And I actually think there's some interesting thing going on with the writing. I think that the chemistry with the characters is good, and yeah, I actually kind of respect it. I don't like them again, but I respect them, especially with their place in history being pre MCU. So like, I think that it just it is what it is for the time that it was in, not knowing where superhero movies is going to go. Rise of the Silver Surfer was an ambitious project, like an ambitious story. I think maybe too ambitious for that time, as maybe this new Fantastic Four movie might imply, because this is a story that might even be more ambitious, too ambitious for this movie, depending on who you ask. But yeah, so it was interesting going back and revisiting those. I don't think I've seen the 2015 one. I was putting these notes together and I was like, I don't think that I've seen it. Nor was I inspired at all to go see it. Like, I just don't want to ruin my current perspective of that cast. Like, everyone there is great in their careers right now. I don't need to watch them.
Consider yourself spared. Just
right.
Bullet dodged, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So that transitions us into the current Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four First Steps film that just came out. And I'm excited to talk about this one. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation. We're not going to avoid spoilers here because we have a bunch of things to get to in this episode, including a fun game that I took a lot of time to put together. So I'm hoping that everyone enjoys that. But yeah, let's talk about Fantastic Four. This is a movie directed by Matt Shakeman. And it stars Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. I have never been able to pronounce this dude's name. Derek, help me out. Ivan Moss.
I think it's Ivan Moss Bachrak.
We're gonna go with that. Thank you.
Backtrack.
Ben Rock. Ben Grimm. Ben Rock. As Ben Grimm, and then Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. And it takes place in the retro futuristic world of Fantastic Four, denoted as Earth 828, which then has to deal with the impending destruction coming from Galactus with the warning from Silver Surfer. Very similar to Rise of the Silver Surfer. So let's start with reviews. Alyssa, let's get your take on this movie. I want to know your initial reaction after you left the theater from this one.
I really enjoyed it. I kind of I don't know if I would say I'm surprised that I enjoyed it, but I'm maybe surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did. Like I like Fantastic Four. I have that nostalgia for the earlier ones, but they weren't like it wasn't a story characters that I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm like so psyched that they're gonna be in the MCU. Like it was kind of like, oh okay, they're in the MCU, awesome, go see it. But I really enjoyed it. I loved. Well, I mean there's like a bunch of things to talk about, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
thought the casting was really good. Like this was another thing that I know there was like huge, like lots of discourse online about it when fan casting to begin with, and then when the new cast actually got announced. I didn't really like have an opinion of them at the time. Like I was like, I had no expectations. I wasn't like, oh, they're gonna be great, or that one, how are they gonna possibly be that character? Like it was just, I had no expectations, and I thought they were really all pretty solid in their roles. Like they felt like what those characters seemed like they should be to me. I thought they had good chemistry together. I was really struck by how I don't know, like lived in the world felt. I think partly it's because it does that skip over the origin story kind of thing, like actually like Superman recently did, right? Where we kind of just jump
Mm-hmm.
into the story a couple years into their existence as this team, as these characters. But it felt like we were just stepping into their lives, which I think worked out really well, and I think aided this film. And I mean I loved the setting, the retro futurist 60s setting. I thought that was really cool. Definitely gave it a unique flavor that I think was kind of in line with sort of the origins of this comic book, right? I mean, it originated in the 60s. They always had this sort of ahead of its time sci-fi element, and incorporating things like Herbie and stuff. I think that was kind of cool. Great score, obviously, as we've heard a few times so far. Um, and I don't know, it just has a very unique identity, more so than I feel like many of the MCU films have, really ever, but especially as of late. It definitely felt like its own thing. Partly, I think, as a result of this separate, universe, right? The 828 kind of setting, but also. Like I don't know, it just the fact that it can exist as sort of a standalone. Obviously we know that these characters are going to come into play during the next set of Avengers films. I'm sure we're going to retroactively find out that all of the things that happen in this movie have these like far reaching impacts. Where's Galactus, all of this stuff is going to come together, and obviously the mid-credit scene. But on its own, it exists as its own story. You don't need to have seen other MCU movies or shows to understand it, so there's no real homework for anybody who isn't caught up. And it doesn't spend all of its time setting up specifically for something in the future. Obviously it can lead into future things, but it exists as its own thing for now, and I really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a few of those details we'll talk a little bit more about here in a moment. Elizabeth, what was your reaction leaving the theater from this movie?
Well, I should say that I've been off the Marvel hype train, I think, ever since Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I like endings and I like it when things come to an end. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, Endgame just felt like a cherry on top, perfect ending. And I'm like, I might pop up every once in a while to see if something interests me. But I think since Endgame, for me, I've struggled to get into the franchise since then, where it just feels like it's so focused on getting bigger and bigger and bigger that they're just sort of doing nothing, and it's just becoming the same old thing over and over and again. And going into Fantastic Four, I was curious on it because I'm like, okay, are they finally going to get this trio, not this trio, but these four characters right, or is it going to be more the same? And I was left quite disappointed with it.
Mm-hmm.
While this is like the first Marvel movie in like a very long time that has like a sense of style, like I love the 60s retro futuristic aesthetic this film has. Marvel finally remembers what color grading is. Actually having some pops of color every once in a while. And I do think the casting, for the most part, I do think there is one miscast, I think is very, very good. It just all feels like curtain dressings for covering up the same old Marvel story that we have seen now almost 40 times.
Mm.
I'm like, it's 10 years ago, this story would have worked, but I think now that we're almost 40 films into this franchise, I'm like, Marvel, we have to change it. Well, I do appreciate, it does sprinkle in, a little bit of different seasoning in there. It just feels like the same old stuff we've seen so many times. No stakes. How this time I really felt like there were no stakes or anything, because I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna win.
Mhm. It's
Like,
you said seasoning and steaks, and now I'm hungry.
yeah, but it's but how this time it's just everything just feels like curtain dressing to the same old McDonald's meal that we've gotten, for the past almost 20 years. And at this point, it's like, I'm done.
This is interesting. So we have both ends of the spectrum here.
Yes.
That's awesome. We're gonna have an interesting discussion. Derek, where do you fall on this spectrum?
Yeah, this is tough because if you're asking what my initial reaction from the theater is,
Hmm.
to answer the question directly, it was pretty high. And I remember leaving just feeling like, wow, they did it. Marvel, so back, baby. Um, and then the longer I've been away from it, the less those things that I enjoyed start to, kind of or hold there's just no grip. You know what I mean? It was kind of
Hmm.
this half-hearted handhold, and then it's it's Titanic. It's Jack, I'll never let go, and then she just pushes him down into the water. Uh, it just feels so much like all of the goodwill is just fleeting. And I actually really like the way Elizabeth put it of just this curtain dressing where the pattern design of the curtain is gorgeous and beautiful, and it lulls you in with this false sense of security of risk. And then when you open it up, it's just the corporate Marvel machine hiding behind the curtain. And it's like, but you were so close. This movie has flares of uniqueness. It has moments of, I think, some risk taking. I think some of its best feet forward, some of its best first steps. Or when it is trying to do something different, when it's trying to lean into this retro futuristic world that it's created, when it's allowing the characters to breathe a little bit, I think that's when the movie is at its best. But, and Thomas, you and I talked about this a little bit,
Hmm.
but this whole film feels like it's on fast forward because it feels like they just didn't trust their audience to watch a movie that isn't action packed. And so all the things that you want to see a little bit more of, all the characters that do feel lived in and feel somewhat fully fleshed out, they don't trust us enough to want to follow those people. So they just hack it to bits, speed through all the family stuff, and just be like, "Yeah, no, you're supposed to feel something for this, but we got to get to Galactus destroying the city. Everybody needs the city destroyed. Everything needs to end in a kaiju battle." And it's like, okay, that's literally the least interesting part, and those are things that make it feel stakeless. I don't feel gripped by that tension because that's not tension. The most interesting parts of the movie you're speeding through because you don't believe that we care about those things. And so again, leaving the theater, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And then the longer I've been away from it, the more those types of things start to seep through, and I really do start to see kind of the picture behind it. And I think Elizabeth is right. It's just McDonald's. Like you go to get a steak dinner, and that's not what you get. So
This is so interesting because, like, what are the expectations that we have for Marvel now? I left the theater like Derek, very positive on this movie. And I'm trying to find a good like deflating analogy. It's like finishing the film is like cracking open a soda and then like leaving it sitting out, and then you come back to it, a day later. And it's like, oh, that fizz that I really thought was going to be really good about this is not as fizzy anymore. I think that there are a lot of good aspects to this movie. I know, and I think I said this about Superman too. In the moment, I am so invested in this, and I can't explain why that investment just kind of is so fleeting, why it kind of deflates over time. And I haven't seen it a second time yet. I'll be interested in seeing like how much those positive qualities hold up on a second viewing for me. But yeah, lots of good positive things about it. Of course, as you guys may have picked up, I love the score. It is a great score. Every time that choir comes in singing the Fantastic Four name, it's just like the most rousing thing. I'm so here for it. And I, as a marketer and brand manager, like all the branding, all the style, everything about the look of this movie just really appeals to my senses. So like I actually spent the movie thinking I'd like to talk with the graphic designer who designed everything here. Like this movie's great, but like give me an interview with the graphic designer. I want to talk to the production team, like the production design team and everything like that. Everything about visually about this movie is amazing when it comes to design. And so I love that. I do agree, like even with my positive feelings on the movie, I did feel like the stakes were pretty low. We're in spoiler territory, and maybe this is where we can jump off into more conversation. But you know, with the climactic event, Sue Storm pushing Galactus into the portal, and then dying, I'm like, okay, you can hold this camera on her as long as you want. I know she's gonna pop back up. Like that's just what's gonna happen. And they hold the camera for a long time, and then she comes back to life, obviously with the help of her son Franklin. But you just know, like nobody's dying in this movie. Nobody's significant. We're not at a place right now in the MCU for them to take those kind of to make those kind of decisions and really pull at our heartstrings and have something that has permanent consequences. We're not in permanent consequence territory yet. And so, yeah, when it comes to like that grip that we're talking about, it's not there because we have risk, but we don't have stakes. And I appreciate the risks like Derek was talking about with trying to tell a more family oriented story, while also trying to appeal to a mass audience. That was a risk, but the stakes are not high enough for the team and you know this movie and what ends up happening. So I mean, I mentioned the end. I guess we can jump into that real quick. Did anyone else have any feelings about like how Galactus was defeated and that whole action sequence leading up to the end?
I feel bad, but somebody put this on Letterboxd as their review, and I was like, yeah, I actually felt really bad for thinking this in the moment, but I literally was like, move over, Renesmee. There's a new, very creepy CGI digital baby taking the throne as being the weirdest thing I've seen on screen in a really long time.
Yeah, that's why I said everything here looks good visually, and then I had to correct myself design wise. Like the CGI is not quite there yet, guys.
It's a little wonky. It's a little wonky, and I am not down for CGI babies. And you've got Renesmee from Twilight, you got the weird babies in the Flash, and now you've got Fantastic Four baby Franklin as just the creepiest CGI recreations of children I've ever seen. Yes, that was on the top of my mind. It shouldn't have been. That's the thing. It's like that shouldn't have been something that I noticed. But you're right. This idea of there's going to be no permanence, and that makes it really difficult to feel like any of these people are ever at risk. Which is why I actually think some of the better parts of the movie are just watching their dynamic, because those things are stakes for the characters. So if you get us invested in the characters, how they operate together, how they function together, how they work together as a family, all of those little things that they kind of overcome, I think those things are infinitely more interesting than the larger cosmic scale of events. And when I talk about it being on fast forward, you can feel a lot of those things were cut out. One of the first examples that come to mind outside of the ending, which I do think is a little rushed, but like the relationship between Shalbal, Silver Surfer, and Johnny Storm, it feels like there's like 10 minutes more of that relationship that is just missing. Like it's just not in this movie, but it is interesting when they kind of put it front and center. I think same thing with Ben and The Thing and Natasha Lyonne's character. It feels like there's a good 5 to 10 minutes of that relationship just cut down to size because they don't believe that we actually care about whatever it is going on between them. And to me, those things are more interesting because if we're going to bypass the origin story, then we need to see their lives unfold as they are, as we meet them. And this idea of just rushing through all of that to get to your big CGI Galactus and weird, creepy CGI baby, I don't know that that's the right move. I think that undercuts some of that risk. But I'll turn it to you guys. You're frozen, by the way, so I thought you just disappeared, Thomas.
Yeah.
I mentally switched
Yeah.
to host mode because I was like, he's been on that face this whole time I'm talking. So I got you. I got you. Just make sure you say the line. You got to say the line. I'm not gonna Johnny Storm this for you unless you say the line.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with some of those other things. I think, when this comes out on Blu-ray, we're probably going to see a couple deleted scenes along those lines, especially Ben with, do we ever know Natasha Lyonne's character's name? I don't even know if, maybe I think she introduces herself, but I don't remember because, she's in, 3 scenes and barely, and so I thought there was going to be a lot more to that, that angle. And then, like you said, with Silver Surfer, it seems like there was some disconnect there between maybe his dealings with her when they were off in Galactus's ship, and then the next time they really meet up. It seems like we're missing elements to that. So I definitely agree on that. And then as far as the ending, I also agree that it does feel rushed. It feels maybe not super climactic in the same way because, we do kind of know what's going to happen. I mean, even in my screening in Maine, right? When they're doing CPR and then it's like, oh, I heard somebody behind me gasp. And then somebody goes, oh, the baby. And they knew what was going to happen, right? They knew that this power was going to, so it was it wasn't surprising, but as sort of counterpoint to that, or maybe a, devil's advocate kind of thing, maybe we have become so conditioned to wanting these big, oh, somebody has to die or somebody has to make this grand sacrifice that actually lasts. And I mean, think about the first Fantastic Four movie, right? Or Marvel movies of that era. Obviously we have issues with them, but I don't know, we just of course they were all going to be okay. So I don't know, I don't necessarily, I don't think that that's necessarily has to be the case, right? I do like there to be stakes. I like there to be some suspense and maybe some surprising things to happen, right? It would be interesting if Sue didn't make it, right? And then, the fourth member was Franklin, when we get to the Avengers movie, that'd be oh, wow, no way. But at the same time, I don't mind that. I guess one point though, especially with the ending, and then since we were talking about Silver Surfer as well, that whole Johnny wanting to sacrifice himself or be willing, they kind of bring it up twice, right? When he's take me instead, and she's nope, take the baby and leave or else you're doomed. And then he tries to sacrifice at the end, obviously, but that part seemed a little kind of not out of the blue. Obviously he cares about his family and but it seemed like a weird point that stuck in my mind is why do they keep harping on this when I don't know, it felt a little strange. But maybe I've never read the comics, so maybe he has a sacrificial moment or something like that in that they're referencing. But I did think that stood out a little bit to me.
It's
Yeah.
for me, it's, I agree. I do think when they were being a family, when it was just family dynamics, I do think that was when it was the strongest, even though they're still not the strongest MCU family that belongs to Guardians of the Galaxy. Because it feels like here, they were so focused on having almost a perfect family with a little bit of cracks that they were afraid to get into the messiness of family dynamics. And it feels like anytime they're about to get into that messiness, they pull back immediately into it, when Sue, when she realizes that at one point, Mr. Fantastic did think about the statistics of giving up Franklin and how, you think it would lead into a big old fight and then boom, it ends right there. so it feels like that they were, you know, maybe just a little bit afraid to dive into sort of the nastiness, but again, like they just completely sped run through it and were more focused on let's have our big CGI battle. And I did appreciate some of the how they tied in like the anxieties and fears of becoming a parent, but again, just completely sped run and dropped through, and you know, just almost completely dropped by the end of it.
Yeah,
And
I
in
think.
regards,
Oh, sorry. I was
oh,
going to say, I think I like those points too, because I think there's a darkness to Reed Richards that they just kind of scratched the surface of. He is
mhm.
having an existential crisis about being a parent, but also these are unknowns. These are things he can't calculate, and those things are really important to demonstrate he's not just the smartest man on earth. Like, he's supposed to be the smartest man in the universe. And the challenge of having a child is that there's no calculation that you can guarantee. So like, he is having his own crisis, and then Johnny not being. I don't know. I just feel like those dynamics can be leaned into more. I'd love to see a hero
Mhm.
that has all the intelligence in the world and literally cannot figure out how to be a dad. That is so
Yeah.
much more interesting than the big CGI battle. But anyways, continue. Sorry.
But in regards to the ending, oh, do not fall, kitty cat. Because bye bye, kitty. For me, with the ending, it just gave me a course of deja vu because we saw the exact same ending in Rise of the Silver Surfer, where Sue dies. She sacrifices herself to help get rid of Galactus, even though it doesn't do all that much. And then Silver Surfer comes in and nerfs Galactus. And I just got complete and utter deja vu. I'm like, I've seen this before. And in that version, it was the Silver Surfer who resurrected Sue, not the baby Franklin. But here, I'm like, we've seen this before. But ironically, in Rise of the Silver Surfer, it actually felt like there were stakes in that compared to here. Like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the giant fart cloud was a better villain of Galactus than what we get here. Because, like, at least in Rise of Silver Surfer, the Silver Surfer is making holes in the planet every day. Like, they're going against the clock. I mean, I think everything in Rise of Silver Surfer happens in, like, less than a week. And they're completely scrambling to try to stop Galactus. And there, Galactus is almost, like, completely consuming the planet. Well, in this version, it's like he's taking his own little road trip, you know, planet to planet, going, you know, just a leisurely tour. It takes him months for him to arrive to Earth. And when he arrives, he just destroys the city. That's it. Where's the stakes?
I had some timeline issues because they had to go to deep space, like, you know, speed of light to get to his ship in the previous planet. And for some reason, I remember they're like, and now he's passing Jupiter. And I'm like, oh, that's quick. He got there really fast. But then it took like months to get past Mars.
Yeah, so it didn't. So ironically, that's like the one area where, you know, for this film wanting to breeze, you know, go at a million miles an hour, this is where the film just completely took its time. So Galactus really only shows up, what, twice? I mean, they completely wasted Ralph Ineson.
This is interesting because I think the word that is coming to mind now, which I didn't originally assign to this movie, but am now starting to adopt it, is contrived. I think there is a lot about this movie that is trying to accomplish something, but has to maneuver in strange ways to do it. And yeah, maybe that's something that is behind the illustrious curtain.
Yeah.
Is this sense of contrivedness, just kind of playing plot points how they think the audience would want the plot points to be played, rather than what makes sense to the natural unfolding of this story, which I also think, to Derrick's point, is more dramatic, more family drama than it is, you know, action superhero extravaganza.
I think
you know?
some of those things too that Elizabeth is kind of pointing out, I do think that those things feel very much like a result of somebody who listens to the internet a little too much. And listen, I'm gonna stand in my box and tell you that, like, yeah, some of this is my fault, right? Like, you can feel the Fantastic Four trying to answer questions that probably all of us have heard or being brought up either on the internet or on a podcast. Like, it really does feel like Kevin Feige was in his feelings, just listening to podcast after podcast, just shredding it and shredding the MCU and complaining about all these things. And while I think it's trying to make up for some of them, there is no film outside of Endgame or post Endgame that cannot separate itself from that Marvel machine. At some point, all of these are just, and this is why I'm very one, I'm very down on Doomsday, but then two, I think we really need to stop pinning all of our hopes and dreams on every new Marvel movie that comes out, because we're 40 films into this, guys. Like, you just can't do this over and over and over and over and over again and not expect diminishing returns. Even the best of them are still going to feel lesser than, and I think that's just kind of where we are now. And so you can feel it trying. I think some of those steps it's taking are slightly in the right direction, but it's too afraid to just cross the line because you've got that Disney money that's just holding you back. Like, Disney exists to sell toys. Disney exists to sell theme parks. Like, they don't actually care anymore anyway. Like, they don't actually care about story development. So yeah, it makes sense that you're listening to the internet and trying to find ways to make money rather than just taking the risks and letting it be a film that it should be, which is a family drama and not a kaiju action battle that the answer to everything is to destroy a city.
Yeah. I've had this issue with Marvel for a minute, where they can't step outside of what is kind of already known. And this came up for me with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. If I was kind of contributing to the direction of future Marvel movies, I would lean so much more into genre. I mean, Captain America as, spy espionage films, like, yeah, they're action movies, but man, that like genre, that subgenre that it falls in is great. And I had really hoped that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness would really lean into being a horror movie. Like, you got Sam Raimi, dude. Like, let Sam Raimi, you know. It had to be an action movie. It had to be, big scale, and also bait and switch cameos, which is also connected to Fantastic Four a little bit. But yeah, I watched that movie and I said, nah, Marvel's just never going to change. Like, this was a great opportunity to really do something different, to lean into horror, which is a successful genre. Horror movies last year, it was like every other week was a horror movie.
This year, the best movie is technically a horror movie.
Yes, exactly. Horror is a great genre to lean into, and the fact that Marvel just entirely blew over that and just said, like, oh, we're just going to keep doing our action thing and a little bit of horror so that we can pretend like this could be a horror movie. And so when I look at this and think, man, this could be a really, really great family drama. Maybe not, it's not quite as alluring as a horror film, but I would love to just see Marvel lean into genre. And I think stylistically, the director, Matt, I just said his name. Yeah, Shakeman. He did WandaVision, and let me tell you, the best parts of WandaVision were when they were playing with style. Those first 6 episodes of WandaVision are the best TV Marvel has done, in my opinion. Just because you guys knew the assignment, you knew your source material, and you knew how to play with that. And I think, and you see a lot of that here in Fantastic Four, where they're so in tune with that retro futuristic style that kind of pulls wool over our eyes for a lot of the other things that we have problems with. So man, lean into that with your stories, lean into that with your approach to like what kind of films these are, instead of just doing the same thing over and over. As Derek's pointing out, the kaiju battle end all the time. Like, let's try something different. Okay, I digress.
What did you guys think of the performances? Because I do think there's a miscast, and I'm curious if everyone else agrees with the miscast.
I am so interested in hearing, because I'm interested in hearing what you thought the miscast was, because I think everyone I've talked to had a different favorite character. So I don't think that there is like a unanimous standout from what I've experienced in conversations. But let's see, who would if I was to say a miscast? No, I'll let you guys go first.
It's for me, like Vanessa Kirby's the big standout. Performance wise, like complete and utter mama bear, rips through the screen and proves that, you know, she is the most powerful member of the Fantastic Four. I do think Joseph Quinn is good as Johnny Storm. I will say Ebon Moss is a bit wasted as Ben Grimm, the Thing. And then, you know, you have Ralph Ineson as Galactus, and you think that would be a gold mine for a cast, but they completely wasted him. However, for me, the big miscast was Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic.
There's a hot take.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the internet's daddy, and
also the box office juggernaut right now. Is he in 3 movies in theaters right now? Is that what it is?
Yes, 3. Like he's had 4 films released this year.
Yeah.
And so Eddington, Materialist, I think, is still in theaters, and then
Freaky Tales. Freaky Tales came out this year.
Yeah.
Oh, and Freaky Tales just came out. Yes, yeah.
And you know, and when he has to bring the juice, he brings it. But I think he's too rugged to play Reed Richards, and this is no fault of him as an actor, because I think he's a great actor, and I love he's having this moment. But I think he's just too rugged for this character. He just doesn't come across as the smartest person in the universe. And it felt like Marvel casted him in this role because he's the hottest actor in Hollywood right now, rather than him being the best actor to play this role. Like for me, like when they were doing the castings for Fantastic Four, like my first pick was Hamish Linklater, who is probably best known for playing the priest in Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass. And just him doing poetry and, you know, just all the lines, he came across as intelligent, and Pedro just could not really pull off the I'm the smartest person in the room kind of deal. And that's just no offense to him, but, you know, I love him, but I just think that he's just not a good fit for this role. I mean, he brings the juice when he needs to, but I just think like anytime he was speaking scientific jargon, I could not take him seriously.
Anyone else want to weigh in on that take?
So I think Sue is also my favorite. I think she's the strongest. But actually, I think my second favorite was Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. So I kind of disagree with that aspect. At least for this, right? Because like I did buy him as that character for me personally. Maybe this is the hot take, right? But like I don't know. He seemed like he had that, and like Derek had mentioned that there was kind of a darkness to him, right? This like this concern, right? He had this they brought it up a few times that he was feeling this guilt for, you know, the accident, right? The original trip, and like that kept coming up, and then him struggling with you know, fatherhood, and like that he has that conversation, right, that like with Franklin only, right? He can't admit it to anybody else, and I don't even know if he admits it to himself, but he admits it to Franklin that he doesn't want Franklin to be like him, right? So he has this, so that is a very you know, tends to be a, you know, a thing with kind of academics, I think, of like this constantly thinking and constantly being self-doubting about your thoughts and your abilities beyond your scientific skills. And so that came across, and like him lecturing, you know, stretching his arm across the chalkboard, like I bought it, but I agree with your thoughts on the other ones. The one that was interesting coming in, I had mentioned that I didn't really have expectations about anybody, but I was originally kind of like about Joseph Quinn's casting. That one I was kind of like, oh, that's the only one that I was kind of like but I thought he was good. Like I was pleasantly surprised with how he came across as Johnny Storm. But yeah, I liked Pedro Pascal in this role.
That's so interesting.
So I'm gonna be somewhere in the middle, because I actually do agree with Elizabeth, but I also do agree with you, Alyssa, as well. So I think there are things that Pedro Pascal is bringing to this role that really do demonstrate some of those dark things, some of that guilt, some of that unknowable, some of those. I think he is at his best when he's being challenged for not being able to solve the problem. I think Pedro Pascal does a really good job in bringing that weight onto himself. And you really start to feel like, wow, this man is somebody who has his whole life is just being able to solve problems instantly. And now he's come up against something that he not only doesn't understand, but literally cannot solve for. So I think Pascal does a really good job in those moments. I will say that overall, though, he is an actor and a performer who is incapable of sucking all the oxygen out of the room. And I mean that as a compliment, because he just has a magnet. There's a reason he's so hot right now, right? Like, as Elizabeth put it, like he's the internet's daddy. He's our, however overexposed he might be, when he shows up, he is the event. He's the thing that you come to see. And so every time he's on screen, it's hard for him, I think, to be in kind of an ensemble that needs everybody to operate equally, because he has this charm. He's got this magnetism to him, and you can feel the movie pulling that back at every opportunity it can. And then that's what makes it feel like, well, yeah, maybe he's not the smartest person in the universe, because he's constantly being forced to keep all of that down so that he can have these interactions with other people. And then I think because of that, because you're like stifling his charm, but then you're trying to turn up the dial on Joseph Quinn and make him go to 11, now you've got this weird kind of imbalance where like Johnny Storm is being quippy and kind of funny and cheeky, but you've got somebody that is just purposefully being wooden and standoffish, and that dynamic just doesn't come across in the way that like that buddy cop vibe should. And so I think it does. It just kind of throws a wrench in what everybody else is doing, because you have to stifle him. You have to remove some of that charm and magnetism that just comes when you cast Pedro Pascal. So it almost feels like you should have just done. I think your suggestion is good, but someone who just doesn't have that, and that's how they can kind of fit into this.
You know, I'm gonna argue with Elizabeth here. I actually I don't mind Pedro Pascal in this role, but I think I don't mind him in this role because the movie leans into celebrity.
Mhm.
Like, these are celebrities. They are icons. They are on the front of newspapers, magazines. Like, they lean into celebrity. And I think the original Fantastic Four, they dealt with celebrity, but it wasn't something they were proficient at. And in this movie, they're proficient at celebrity, and Pedro Pascal has the face for proficiency at celebrity, right?
Mhm.
And so he works in that sense. But does he? Does he come off as a nerd? Kind like, because I'm thinking about Johan Griffith,
Mhm.
how you pronounce his name. He's a nerd. He's so nerd. He's uncomfortable with celebrity. He's very much about, he's not very socially inclined. He definitely, like, there's the nerd is so much more present there. And I think Pedro Pascal gives more businessman
Mhm.
to me. And so it works enough for me in this movie, especially with the dynamic of the characters. But I can totally see how maybe someone a little nerdier, a little less a little more averse to the spotlight, but doing it because, you know, it's a part of, you know, their identity and what they do. I think that's one thing that the original Fantastic Four got really right, was like this introduction to celebrity and trying to navigate that, which I don't think there's any navigating here. They're just full on celebs. They live in it. It's I don't know if Fantastic Four could exist without celebrity in this movie. So yeah, I can see where Elizabeth's coming from here. And I think that that's an interesting sketch. Honestly, I don't know if it's a miscast. I think more of my issues with the casting are more about writing, but I think my weakest link is probably Joseph Quinn. And that, I think that's mostly because I don't think his character is fully fleshed out. I wish he had better material to work with. Johnny Storm in the original Fantastic Four, you know who he is. He knows who he is. He leans into it maybe a little bit too much, you know. And I think here it's so subtle that I had to wonder, like, is this the hotshot Johnny Storm that we know, or is this just a more tame, you know, uncle? And they give clues like, oh yeah, he's the hotshot. He's hitting on the Silver Surfer. That comes up a couple times, but is never again really leaned into. So yeah, I wish that these characters were more fleshed out, better fleshed out. I think if they had given, if they had given more, just better material. I needed this to be a drama, in my opinion, and I don't know, the Marvel fans are not going to agree with that, but like, I needed this to be a drama, and I really wish it was.
It's the best part.
Yeah.
So,
it's the best part of the whole. It's when it functions best is when it really is just a family drama, and you're just watching these people interact. And every time they start to flesh that out, they get scared, and then they just fast forward so that they can get to whatever the next action sequence is. But it truly, that's when all of them, I think, shine. And I think that Evan Moss, I think he gets the short end of the stick. I think the thing just doesn't have they try to inject this story of this idea that Johnny doesn't have anything to do, and that's why he's the one that solves the language and has the relationship with the Silver Surfer. But that never really comes across as the reason that he has this relationship, right? So you're left just kind of in this ambiguous state of, okay, well, is it just because he wants to have sex with everything that moves because he's a hotshot, or is it because he feels like he doesn't have a place on this team? When in reality, it's the thing that has nothing to do at all in this dynamic. Like, yeah, he's a pilot, but they're not going to space, so he can punch something, and that's his whole personality. Like,
I mean, honestly, I don't even I thought that the relationship between Ben Grimm and Reed Richards wasn't nearly as strong as I wanted it to be. I mean, you go back and watch the original Fantastic Four. That's they have like a bromance, which is really cool to think about in mid 2000s. Like, that wasn't trending at that time, and so like those characters are really close in that original Fantastic Four, and I think here they have a moment, and then that's it. You don't really get that interaction with them that says like these are best buds. It very much is like chosen family, but like their dynamic, it's just not as strong as I would have expected it to be. And maybe that's just because I watched the original Fantastic Four recently and saw that dynamic. But yeah, I wish that there was a stronger relationship between Ben Grimm and Reed Richards.
Yeah, and the Thing had quite a heartbreaking character arc in the first Fantastic Four, almost 20 years ago, where, he became the Thing and he almost like completely lost his humanity because he doesn't look like a human anymore, and how he's struggling to try to get that back. Like, his fiance dumps him because of it, and he just ended up feeling so sorry for him. And here I'm like, where is that kind of character? Because even if I recall correctly, in Rise of the Silver Surfer, that's still kind of there in him, that he misses looking like, like a human being. So I was like, where is that in here? That sort of little bit of juiciness character, and he's just there.
It's on the cutting room floor with all the other scenes with Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah, on the cutting room floor.
and I'm fine if you want to trade that out, right? Because that does feel a little bit more like an origin story. So like, sure, if you fast forward 4 years, he's probably a little bit more comfortable with how he looks. But when I talked about like the Natasha Lyonne character and like that, her name's Rachel, by the way. I had to look it up. I don't think that's actually mentioned in the movie, but I looked it up. Her name's Rachel.
I don't remember Rachel.
But that relationship between the Thing and Rachel, there's a stronger sense of purpose there, where he's dealing with loneliness now, right? Like he's overcome the idea of like, yeah, I look like a rock, but these are ways that people can accept me. But now he's just lonely because he doesn't have anybody outside of his family. And that is a really interesting dynamic to double down on and get into. And they're just like, nope, we don't have time for this. Fast forward.
Like, don't have time. The next Fantastic Four movie will be called Fast Forward.
My last review was there's so much family. Dominic Toretto owns this on 4K Blu-ray already.
That's funny. Watch the crossover happen between Fast and Furious
might as well.
Fantastic Four. There's so many Fs. There's so many Fs in the name. It has to happen. Oh man. Okay, guys, let's go. Let's wrap up this segment of the conversation with our final ratings. And like it seems like there's some shifting happening with at least one opinion here from initial watch. So Elizabeth, let's start with you. What's your final rating on Fantastic Four?
So my rating for the Fantastic Four was a C, or 2.5 stars out of 5. It's pretty, not very good. It's just meh. Same old, same old.
Derek, how about you? What's your final rating?
Yeah, so the longer I talk about this and the more I think about it, the lower that rating gets. Out of the theater, I was a 4. Could be convinced to be a 3.5. Now I'm really teetering between like a 3 and 3.5. I think there are still some things aesthetically that I really, really appreciate. I love the production design. I love the score. I think there is the things that it's trying to do, I enjoy very much. I just wish they would actually just take some risk and just go for it. I think that's when they're at their best, even when those things don't all work. And I think we need more of that. And while there are some of those steps in the right direction, I think a lot of them are just kind of at a standstill, and it just kind of makes everything feel a little bland. So if pressed, I'd probably be closer to like a 3.25, but we'll just say a 3 out of 5.
Alyssa, help.
So I obviously this might change with rewatch, but right now after just this first time, I'm sitting at a 4 out of 5. I think on this one. I really loved the retro futurist thing. I know, okay, it's the curtain dressing, but it worked for me. Like I love that, and I really liked that this movie felt like its own thing. Like I get it, it has the MCU-isms, it has the same structure as basically every comic book movie we've had in the last like 30 years, but it stands alone as its own thing, which I think is very rare and kind of an underrated thing now in the MCU, that you don't need to do all of this extra homework to not only like get the most out of the movie, but to even understand the movie at this point, right? Mm-hmm. Like there are movies now, like the latest Captain America, right? Like that you had to have watched at least pieces of multiple shows to even really have the full context of what's going on with some of these characters. This doesn't have any of that. So like I appreciated that. I loved the score, and it was just, I don't know, it was much more enjoyable than I had anticipated it being.
Very cool. I'm hoping when I watch it a second time that the things that I loved, even in the moment, even if they deflated afterward, I'm just hoping that rewatching it revitalizes how much I love the parts of the movie that I really like. I do have that deflating kind of effect. It's kind of diminished a little bit for me since I've watched it. The one thing I really want to say really quick though is can we stop with mid-credit scenes? Can we just like
This is by far and away the worst one I've ever seen. I
don't want them.
They should bring back blooper reels during the credits.
Oh my god, please.
Blooper reels. Please, yes.
Bring that back.
In fact, yeah, make stage blooper. Do you know how great it would be to like write scenes of bloopers with the family? Like how awesome would that be? That would be a lot of fun. When I think the tendency to use mid-credit scenes to set up something in the future, it's annoying now. And it's annoying because, and I told Derrick this, it's annoying because I spent way too much of my brain power during this movie trying to figure out how it connected to the mid-credit scene of Thunderbolts, where the ship showed up. And so I'm like connecting dots that the movie just is not at all getting to. And I'm like, why did we watch that mid-credit scene in Thunderbolts? Why was that there? Because, you're going through space, and now I'm thinking, oh, okay, well then they're going to jump to a reality where they see the ship, and then that mid-credit scene makes sense, and it just never happened. There was like 4 different times I'm like, this must be it. It just never happens. Stop with
I think part of that one though, right, wasn't Thunderbolt, didn't they switch their release dates, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four? So originally I think Thunderbolts was supposed to come after Fantastic, so we were supposed to get the setup and like know who the Fantastic Four are, and then we see that in the mid-credits for Thunderbolts. I'm pretty sure,
more
right?
Reason to quit. Yeah. I mean, that would make a lot more sense. It makes so much more sense. Because that mid-credit scene, it's like watching the trailer for Sinners, where I was waiting for gosh, why am I spacing?
Is it like the scene where he has the gun, bang, 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 bang? Yeah, I was kind of waiting for that as well, and then it shows up at the end. I'm like, yes, there it is.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, anyway, sorry, side tangent. I just had to get that out there. Marvel, Kevin, if you're listening, can we
it's an important point to make, because to Alyssa's point, one of its strengths is that there is no homework required for this movie, but one of its drawbacks is, well, now we're actively looking for something that isn't here, and that forces us to read the movie wrong. You know what I mean? Like you and I had a whole conversation about where we thought this movie was going because of this 30-second clip at the end of Thunderbolts. Like, we wrote a whole different movie starting from the black hole on because we thought that that's what it was going to do. And I would have never thought that if you hadn't shown us this mid-credit scene. Like, it genuinely, I went into my own multiverse because you gave me something that I thought this was going to be, and now it's not that. And then this mid-credit scene, I throw this whole thing in the trash. Like, my God, like you're making a couple steps in the right direction, and then you do that, and I'm just like, God, Doomsday's going to be so bad. I'm sorry. I know we want to clip this and have the internet come after me. Guys,
it is on record. I am absolutely throwing this on Reels.
Thank you. I'm going to stand on business, and I'm going to say it right now. Avengers Doomsday is going to be bad. It's
allegedly they don't have a third act written for it.
I believe it.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's going to change dramatically on how Fantastic Four does.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, had to say that. But I'm at a 3 right now, and I hope that if I watch it again, I can be a little more at peace with the things that I dislike and be more enthralled by the things that I do like to bump it back up to a 3.5. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that. So that's a great conversation. All right, guys, I'm excited to go into this next part. So I've introduced you guys to a game that has become a daily obsession for me now. And if you've ever played it before, there's a game called Cinematrix with vulture.com, and it's a lot of fun. My friend Matt Pine introduced me to this, and I play it all the time now. And so I figured I would do something similar here. Let me share my screen.
Thomas said that we were going to play that. Thomas said we were going to play this game, and he sent it to me. And while we are on the phone, I am messing around with this, and I told him, "Why have you ruined my life? Because this has destroyed me, and now this is all I ever want to do." Yeah.
Yes. It's great. Now let me just get the right window up. Can I do it this way? Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to do our own Cinematrix based on Fantastic Four cast actors. So for the actors, we have multiple. I wanted to give as much flexibility as possible, and so I'm just putting all the Fantastic Four actors here. So this first row, we have Pedro Pascal or Miles Teller or Ioan Gruffudd. For the second row, we have Vanessa Kirby or Kate Mara or Jessica Alba. For the third row, we have Yvonne Moss or Jamie Bell or Michael Chiklis. And then for the fourth row, we have Joseph Quinn or Michael B. Jordan or Chris Evans. Of course, all of them being their corresponding Fantastic Four characters. The categories in the column, the first column is movies that were rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, movies that are one-word titles, and movies released between 2005 and 2015. And so essentially the game here is to fill in this grid with movies that correspond with the cross sections. And the movie has a value to it that is displayed as a percentage, and you guys want to get the lowest percentage possible when you make your guess. So has everyone got it? Everyone understand how we're doing this?
Yeah.
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 You guys sound apprehensive. This is going to be fun.
Be tough.
It's so
Where do we want...
this is why this game is so fun, but also like this is why it ruins your life, because you will see categories, right? And your initial thought is like, yeah, I know most of Pedro Pascal's filmography. I got this. And then when it comes time to pick the tile, you're like, have I ever seen Pedro Pascal in a movie ever?
That's exactly what happens to me when I do this. It's like, I know this dude's filmography until you ask me this in the game, and then I have to like rack my brain. But that's why I thought this would be a really fun collaborative effort, so you guys can kind of talk through it and collaborate on what options you think are great. Now, I think that I'm pretty sure each of these have pretty obvious like popular answers, and so there's always something I think you can default to. But yeah, what kind of deep cuts can you guys come up with? So where do we want to start?
So, I mean, I guess for every single one, you could put Fan Four Stick for Ron. Yeah.
This one's really like, who do we want to give that slot to?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing is that
okay, yeah.
You can't repeat.
you can only use the movie one time.
Yeah, so if we use
man.
Fantastic Four Stick here, we have to assign it to one of those characters, and then we can't use that movie again.
So we'll use it if we can't think of
Jessica
something.
Alba. Okay, so Jessica Alba 2005 release, Sin City.
Yeah, that's a good
But
one.
Do you want to
wait,
go with that?
the point is to get the lowest, the least popular,
Yes,
the least likely,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah, so if you
So
have
that's
if
kinda
you have
popular,
a movie
right?
if you have a movie between that you think is less popular than Sin City, like offer up that suggestion, and then we can collectively decide if that's the lowest one.
I can't even
But
think of a
don't write that
movie. Yeah, don't write it yet.
Don't write
But
it.
I can't even think of like you had said.
I know,
like,
this
have
is
I
the
ever
problem.
seen it? Just like now, I can't think of any of them. Well, Jamie.
Like with some of these actors, I'm thinking of TV rather than film.
Like Michael
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Oh, that's true.
That's really the only thing I remember him from.
So I got one that I think could fit into any of the three categories for somebody, and I think it would probably be pretty low popularity. And I'm pretty sure he was in it. Jamie Bell was in Jump, wasn't he? Or Jumper.
Ooh.
And I'm pretty sure that's probably rotten. It's a one-word title, and it was released, I think, in 2006. So we could use that for any of
Yes,
them.
he's in it.
Jumper is bad.
2008.
Oh, 2008. Okay,
And
cool. Jumper is bad.
Jumper 15% on Rotten Tomato.
One-word titles. Gosh. Okay, I like that suggestion, and that's a pretty obscure movie that I definitely regret seeing. Yeah, where do we want to put it though? I'm down to put it on like somewhere in the what is that? The Thing category essentially. Just which one do you want to
think
put
maybe one-word title.
Okay.
Would probably best fit.
Yeah, I think that'll be harder to come up with other ones. Because we know Fan 4 Stick, if we need it, will be in there, and like
that's our back pocket break in emergency.
All right. Do we want to go with Jumper for Jamie Bell and one-word title?
I like it, yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Alyssa's about to Sue Storm this Fantastic 3 team right now.
Okay.
I think that'll probably be my one shining contribution.
I'm trying to think of like baby Michael B. Jordan stuff. Because I mean, obviously, one-word title would be Creed, but that's on the populist side.
Well, he has the cameo in the new Space Jam that I don't think was well received, but it was probably popular.
Yes. Oh, the Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to use cameos? Right. It doesn't matter if they're in it. They're in it, right?
Oh, the Reed, what's it? Yoan, whatever. The Reed Richards from the original. Wasn't he in that movie a couple years ago? Maybe it's more than a couple years ago now. That Ava movie. I got it up there somewhere. I think he was in Ava.
I know he was in San Andreas.
Oh, that can't be a good movie.
Which was the earthquake movie.
But that had The Rock.
Yeah,
that might have been like well watched.
Yeah.
It's probably because didn't he have like 3 of those disaster movies like back to back to back? Because it was like that Rampage, and like even though they made money, people were like, "Yeah, these movies aren't good though."
Yeah, I don't think anyone, really remembers. So maybe San Andreas. Hang on, let me pull up the Rotten Tomato score on that one.
Yeah,
that's cheating, isn't it?
Hey, 2015.
I'm pretty sure he was in Ava, wasn't he? Can I look at my
Ava?
Blu-ray and that counts? Exactly. So it's gonna be low. It was like the spy kind of thing. I'd say if he was in it, I think that would be a good one, at least for maybe the single word one.
One-word title, Ava. Why? I am like racking my brain trying to
find it. Oh, it's right there. Hold on. I can see if he's in it.
Okay, all right. I'm excited to. I'm gonna let her. I'm not gonna Google, but Oh yeah, I know this movie. This is with Jessica Chastain, right?
He's in it.
Okay, yeah. She's one of those actresses that like when she's on, it's like I love everything you do, and then she does stuff like Ava or the 355,
That came out
and
in
you're like, ooh,
So he's
2020.
he's on the back of the Blu-ray. So I would suggest maybe the one-word title for the Reed Richards row.
Yeah.
yeah,
But if
okay,
you guys
all
think
right,
of
I
something
like
else,
that.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
Yeah, that's a nice little deep cut.
can we use the same guy? Even though, right? Like we can't use the same movie, but
If
we
you-
can use the same guy. Wasn't he?
You can use the
He
same
was
guy.
he was the guy
Mhm.
in 102 Dalmatians. That was crap. I bet that's gonna have a low Rotten Tomatoes score.
Whoa, 102 Dalmatians.
He was the
That
guy
is-
who owned the dog rescue place or whatever, right?
Is this the live
the
action one?
live action, the live action 102
That's
Dalmatians.
right. I forgot they made a horrible sequel like that.
All right, guys. I think I've got things back on track. So remind me where we wanted to put Ava.
We're gonna put
one
it-
word for
One
Reed
word,
Rich-
Mr.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. Alyssa's killing
Nice.
this.
Yeah, the deep cuts.
I know. That's what we need, though. We need to get. I like this strategy right now, where we're like, let's get all the deep cuts on the board, and then we can start pulling out all of the ones that are sticking out in our minds as like the only movie these people have ever done. I like that strategy. It's good. What was the other one you said we were gonna use?
102 Dalmatians.
102. I can't believe that's gonna be
Or-
on the board.
Or
We
Rotten.
don't have like if you guys
Mm.
have other ideas, but I'm pretty
No,
sure
that
he
feels-
did
Yeah, let's see if it's in there.
Yeah, that feels like a movie that barely has a percentage score, and very few people actually watched it.
102 Dalmatians.
the live
Mhm.
action one.
Boom.
Yeah, look at us killing this board.
Killing
I like
it.
this. Okay. Let's see here.
Let's see. Maybe a run for The Thing. Maybe Hold Your Breath. That came out last year at TIFF, and it has Ebon Moss.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
This is fun. So there was
forgot he was in that
an actual like a Cinematrix game where a friend of mine chose the end for like a Tilda Swinton category and it had 1% because like who watched that
I
movie?
mean, I did, and then
it was like a direct Hulu release. So,
yeah.
and I'm
So,
pretty
anyway, I
sure
say
it's
that-
run.
Yeah, I say that because recent film festival selections are actually pretty good guesses.
Yeah, that one was,
I like the setting of it. I thought
Yeah.
the setting. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, it was a cool
the
idea.
Dust Bowl.
But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was-
Yeah.
that one has to be rotten. There's no way that movie is not.
Yeah.
So I
Well, for
Yeah,
Hold Your
it's-
Breath.
yeah.
Yeah, Hold Your Breath.
nice. That's a higher. That's
Um,
actually a higher percentage than I thought it would be.
Wait, so
Yeah.
what do you guys think? I don't know how popular this one would have been. Obviously, it wasn't. It would fit into our remaining category, but I don't know. Do you guys remember Eagle Eye? The one with Shia
Oh, yeah.
LaBeouf? Wasn't Michael Chiklis
Yes.
in that? He was like one of the like government guys, I think.
Was
So, and
he?
it was 2006, I think. But
you know,
I don't know if it would be
2008, and
popular.
he is in it.
so like, I don't know if that would be too
Yeah.
popular though.
I actually kind of like.
we can
Eagle
think
Eye.
on it. I like it too.
I think Eagle Eye is a lot of fun. I'm trying to. You know what's funny? Who's the other bald guy from Breaking Bad?
What's his name?
Mike.
His name is literally Mike, which is why I always get him and Michael Chiklis confused because I feel like they have literally the same career, and just whoever doesn't accept one role just gets given to the other one, and they're just. So yeah, I'm seeing his face for Michael Chiklis stuff because I don't know him outside of The Shield. But yes, Eagle Eye. I feel like that would have a pretty low percentage. Actually, I think that's a movie that is forgotten to time, and while maybe people in the beginning liked it, I don't think people remember that movie exists. Like I forgot Michelle Monaghan is like the main actress in that film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we going with Eagle Eye?
I'm okay with it. Elizabeth, are you cool?
Yeah, we can go.
Okay. Yes. Nice pick. I like it.
I'm trying to
Good
think of these
one.
like really bad movies I saw in that era in theaters. That
Yeah.
have people like was
Uh,
Jessica
oh,
Alba in Good Luck Chuck? That was a bad movie, so that would work, I
was
think,
it-
for
Mm.
first
Good-
and third
was it-
category.
Yeah, the same Cook, right?
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's rotten, but I don't know if it's popular.
I have one for the Joseph Quinn, Chris Evans, Michael B. Jordan one, and I feel like this one's going to be really low. But does anybody remember Cellular?
Oh yeah, I liked that one, but I'm sure it
I
didn't.
like that one too. I like that one too. But that has Chris Evans and Kim Basinger, and I feel like most
That could
people
be
have
good
no
for
idea
the-
that movie exists. For
maybe
one
the
word
one
title.
word?
is what I'm
One word,
thinking.
yeah.
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 One word title for
Yeah.
Cellular?
Yes.
Boom.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
And Alyssa, you were on a Jessica Alba one, right?
Good Luck,
Yeah,
Chuck.
Good Luck Chuck, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think it could fit into first or third category probably, but we might want to hold off if we can think of more rare things.
Okay. It's a good pick though.
I'm just gonna write down somewhere
Off to
Good
the
Luck Chuck
side
you
so that
forget.
we don't forget that movie existed. Yeah. And
Forget
that we
again.
brought it up.
like people already have.
Good idea.
And you should write down San Andreas too, since that Elizabeth had mentioned that
Andreas.
one for something. I don't remember which category now.
Yeah, and also,
Yeah,
and I don't know
let's-
why. I like Chris Evans much more than I like Michael B. Jordan as an actor. So, and I'm almost positive this would count for release from 2005, 2015, and I also think it's very, very low on the list. But it also stars, is it Elle Fanning? Who's the young one? Is it Dakota Fanning? Dakota Fanning.
Elle Fanning is the younger sister.
So Push, which I believe came out between 2005 and 2015. I feel like I'm pretty sure it came out between. I think it's like 2008, and I'm almost positive that's true because Jumper and Push came out around the same time, and they're both not good, but one was significantly better than the other.
So, do we want to go with Push on?
No, put it off to the side. Yeah, so we remember.
Put it off to the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one that could be for the Vanessa Kirby row. It would have to. I guess it would have to be rotten if we think it is rotten. It was another festival one a couple years back. The Sun. Do you guys remember that one?
Yes, that was rotten.
Terrible.
That
and
rotten.
like, I think she was like the wife in that, right? So.
Yeah.
I think that one would be rotten.
Yeah, that one was a tough blow
All
too
right.
because the father was so incredible.
I know.
The father was
so good, and they were like, "Oh, let's do The Son," and everyone was like, "No, let's just go back and rewatch The Father."
It's I think for maybe Chris Evans 2015 TMNT.
Oh,
I didn't even know he was in that.
He voiced.
Ooh.
I know I'm cheating, but
interesting. Okay, yeah, put that up
because I think he voiced Casey, the guy with the hockey stick.
Okay, all right. I'm wondering between Push and TMNT. I feel like both of those are probably pretty low on the Chris Evans list because I completely like. I'm sure TMNT is a more popular film that more people saw, but I'm pretty sure both of those movies, either Push or TMNT, are pretty low percentages.
Yeah.
Which one do we want to do?
Well, I'm going to vote for Push since that's the one that I put forward, but I'm comfortable with.
I've never
one,
seen TMNT, so I don't know if it's like popular. I don't know the popularity level for that one.
Maybe that proves your point.
It's true. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
More so, it's like, did anyone know Chris Evans voiced the character?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Because it's a voice performance rather than a
TMNT.
Let's try.
I mean, we could probably do both, right?
This.
We could do TMNT for that, and we could do Push for the other one because I'm sure it's rotten.
That's true. Because Push is rotten. That's true.
Nice.
Boom.
Go, Elizabeth. I love it. All right, let's complete the title.
Well
let's
done.
do Push.
Let's do Push.
Push.
Oh,
And that should
Oop,
give us a
that's
pretty
about
low
right.
percentage too.
nice.
Boom! You guys are killing this.
Wasn't Jessica Alba in what was the third? Little Fockers? I'm sure that's pretty poorly rated. But it might
Was
be
she
popular
really?
because there was a third
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
It might be too popular.
I'm
Or,
trying
like,
to think of Pedro
seen, not,
Pascal
like,
before.
well liked.
I'm trying to think of Pedro Pascal before his like Hollywood dominance, because he was an actor. Like he's been performing forever, but somewhere what's funny is right outside of this time capsule that you have, like this time limit that you've given us, I feel like he didn't start taking off until after that.
Yeah.
After that,
It was
Pedro
because
Pascal
he
was
started in
inescapable.
television.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
He started in television and he didn't
That's
really
true.
start to
Yep.
take TV roles or not TV roles, film roles, and maybe in the past like 5 years
Yeah.
or so.
I feel like I just saw him in something too, that was like right in that area, right during that time period. And I remember saying out loud, because I'm a crazy person, and every time I see this, I have to say it out loud. And my girlfriend was like in the kitchen, and I was like, "Hey, that's baby Pedro Pascal." I'm pretty sure I said that out loud very recently, but now I cannot remember for the life of me what that would have been.
So I remember like Game of Thrones was like his big breakout. Was he in Narcos? I don't think he was
No,
in
he
Narcos,
was.
he?
He was in Narcos.
He was in Narcos.
Yeah, he was
Okay,
in Narcos
yeah, so-
season 3, I think, after the conclusion of the Pablo Escobar story. I think he also is a part of the other one. Yeah, he did a lot of that was his big Game of Thrones, and then he moved on to okay, I think we should probably, because we only have a few tiles left. So I think
Yeah.
I feel like the sun is probably a good one to put for the rotten, because because it's
I think
such
it's the only
a
one
festival.
it would fit into
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
of
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
options.
She's got a pretty solid track record too, so it's hard to find rotten ones. You could, I mean, if I could remember Kate Mara in anything, I'm just I'm not a big fan of her. So if I could,
Ooh, let's see, for one word title, Friendship
For
Kate Mara.
oh yeah,
Friendship.
that's right. She was in that. I hate that movie so much. Sorry, I literally I titled it. My review is literally the funniest movie I couldn't wait to end. Okay, I like the sun for the rotten
The
one.
sun for rotten?
And I like
How are you feeling about
friendship
that?
for one word. I'm down for both of those.
All right. What did I just do? Wrong one. Are we going with the sun for rotten?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Very cool.
I think friendship's
All
gonna be
right.
pretty high though.
Yeah,
in
it is.
popular.
yeah, because then it actually got like a theatrical release, didn't it?
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah, it was released in May. So it's recent.
Yeah.
Now,
those
is the
Tim
popular-
Robinson.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that Tim Robinson cult is strong. Good Luck Chuck is 2005 2015, right?
I think so, but maybe it might have been 2004. I think it's in that zone. 5 or 6, I think. 7. I think it's 7.
Good Luck Chuck, 2007.
Okay, yeah, that feels right around the time Dane Cook was a thing.
Good Luck, Chuck.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Boom.
Ooh.
Turns
You guys
out
are doing really
Letterboxd.
good on this. You're doing
Turns
so much.
out Letterboxd forgot Good Luck Chuck existed, which is good for us. I am actually looking at these percentages. I am shocked at how high Hold Your Breath is
Yes.
percentage wise. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
it's because it's out on streaming.
Didn't
Didn't it come? It came
yeah.
out on Hulu, right? So that's we need something that's not on streaming.
Because some of these feel like, I mean, I remember that, and obviously I don't have fond memories of them, but like, I remember these movies exist. I feel like people talked about them at the time. And so it's just funny. I feel like if I asked 10 people, have you heard of Hold Your Breath? 11 of them would say no. But it's just weird that it's at 11%.
What about?
Well, it's interesting. Push was an interesting choice, and I like when I was doing these numbers. I also looked at this and said that's weird. But Chris Evans his career is just so extensive that he has a lot of movies to spread popularity across, and so
I don't know popularity on this one, and you guys can tell me if you've seen it. A Jessica Alba movie. That's one word. Honey. From 2003. I don't know if it's fine. That's not like the dancing
you know it's
one.
fun. I will,
but
I do throw that movie on for fun sometimes.
Like yeah, I mean, if Thomas is just watching it, then it's probably popular, right?
It's just one of those movies that can live in the background while you like do chores.
It might be too popular then.
Yeah. What about?
I haven't heard of it, but then again, I was like 5, so
yeah, Honey. There was a time where
I mean, there's like 7 of them now, right?
yeah. There's a bunch of them. There was a time where white Hollywood was getting really into hip hop, and so they just started casting beautiful white people in hip hop movies, and then calling it something. And then they just made 80 Step Ups, 90 Honeys, and 100. Save the Last Dance or whatever it is.
Right.
I just wonder what that percentage is going to be. I feel like Honey is more popular than we're giving it credit for. It would work, but
which one's more popular, Honey or Friendship?
It's true.
I'd say Friendship.
That's pretty much what's going to come down to.
I think Friendship is more popular, even though that's just a weird cult following. Like I said, that Tim Robinson cult, they stand for everything. So that was my other issue. That was my issue with that movie, where it was like, it's like Tim Robinson existing is not a feature film. Like, just that's not a movie. That's not even a movie premise. Like, I get that you like his comedy style, but like, he is not a movie unto himself. Anyways, sorry.
What about
a lot of
do you guys remember? It was again these like terrible theatrical movies in the like mid 2000s, and I feel like Kate Mara was in it. Zoom. Do you remember Zoom?
Zoom?
Oh,
it was like one of those like superhero kind of things.
So long ago. It was a superhero, right? With Tim Allen.
With Tim Allen?
I don't even know if she was.
How have I never heard of this movie?
It was really bad.
It was like. Well, that one was it the same Tim Allen one? Wasn't that the other one? Zoom. Yeah, it was Tim Allen, right? Because they were like, yeah, and it had that what was that kid's name? The brother of the Breslins, like the Breslin brother. I can't think of his name.
He plays Shia LaBeouf's brother in like what? What was the name of that show that Shia LaBeouf was in?
Oh, Even Stevens. Oh. Yeah.
Even Stevens, because he played the brother, and like his brother's in this.
This looks horrible.
It was horrible. I saw it in theaters though.
How have I never?
It was actually in theaters.
I'm pretty sure my parents took me to go see this, so yeah, maybe go with that.
I feel like
I think maybe not a lot of people knew that Kate Mara was in it.
Oh, this is bad. Oh my gosh. I did a whole series a few years ago. I did a whole film series called 10% or Less. So I basically just go onto Rotten Tomatoes, find movies that were rated 10% or less, rewatch them, and then see if they deserved how awful their Rotten score was. Spoiler alert, almost all of them do. But I'm like really shocked that I didn't find this one sooner when I was doing that series, because I would have definitely fired this train wreck up. Yeah, I like this pick. This is a good pick.
Great, going with Zoom.
Yep.
8%.
Way higher than I thought. Wow. What would, can we just test what Honey was? Like, we'll go with Zoom, but can you type in?
We can. I'm curious
what Honey would have been.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
good.
Okay.
Oh, right, Zoom all the way.
All right. Good. Nice save, Alyssa. Thank you.
Ooh.
Yep.
And then Friendship was higher. Yeah.
God, these deep cuts.
There you go.
Man.
I think I actually
I'm totally
Yeah.
gonna watch Zoom now.
We'll recon after this. All right, one more square.
Okay, this is. God, what? I know
Well, I
Miles
feel like
Teller has been
Miles
in
Teller
horror
wasn't
movies.
real. Oh no, 15. Yeah, going to 15, but I can't remember the name of it because I never saw it. But there was a movie with Michael B. Jordan, and like I think actually Miles Teller was in it as well. And who was it? Zac Efron, right? What was it? Was something. There was the three of
Ooh.
them, and I
Mhm.
can't remember what it was, but I bet it fits in that time frame. I think it was like early 2010.
No, I know exactly. It's
But
Chronicle.
it's probably too
Is it?
popular.
It's
No, it
Chronicle.
was like no, it
I
was
don't
like
know
a
why.
buddy comedy
I don't know
kind
why I
of
didn't
thing.
think
Like
of Chronicle for Michael B. Jordan,
but like oh.
Oh, you're okay.
Well, I was like, because Miles
Project
Teller is
X?
like a possibility. I never saw it though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It is
I can
killing me to
picture
know
the
the title of the movie you're talking
I can
about.
picture the poster. I'm trying to like think of the words on it.
I'll tell you the title. It's That Awkward Moment.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if it's popular though. So I feel like it would be
I
Hold Your Breath level or
let's see
higher.
that. Oh, there it is. Okay.
But it might not. It might
All
not
right,
even
why
be
this
in
one
the
is so
time
hard.
frame. It might be too late. It might be like a 2000.
Because we're trying to find the one that has the least amount
Yeah,
of.
that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Right, yeah,
It's
'cause
not
they
like we
just
don't
throw
have
that
guesses on
whole
the
stick.
table. Yeah.
All right, which one do we want to go with?
I'm okay with any of them. I think San Andreas
He was
might
also
be a
in the
little
really
better.
bad Footloose remake.
Ooh.
Oh, which one? Who was?
Miles Teller.
Ooh.
I remember seeing that in college.
That could be a good one.
That was pretty. And I bet not many people saw that one really.
Yeah, I bet the new
Like Letterboxd era.
Yeah, I feel like
hasn't seen it much.
the hopefully forgotten ill-advised remake of Footloose is probably not as popular. I think I'd go with either San Andreas or Footloose. I think even though they have like a pretty popular cast, I get the sense that most people have probably tried to avoid watching them.
Or do you want to do Justice League War because that's a voice performance?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good deep cut as well.
So I will say Justice League War, I think, is direct to DVD, and I didn't include those in that one. So all of these movies are theatrical.
Oh, okay, so they have to be theatrical released. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with either one of those. I think.
I feel like San Andreas is going to be
technically.
You think so? Yeah.
I think so, but I don't know about Footloose. Like, I feel like Footloose would be lower than San Andreas, but I don't know how low. Because I mean, it was big when it came out, but.
Yeah, but no, that's true, and he's not going off of whether or not it's high on Miles Teller's filmography. It's how high is it on Letterboxd?
Right, because you said it's the number of logs, like the number of people who've logged it, or. And is it on streaming? That's the other thing. Like, if it's easily accessible, then a lot of people will have logged it.
I actually have no idea where I would watch Footloose.
I remember it coming out in theaters, like, God, over a decade ago.
Yeah. I love I have a soft spot for the original, even though the original is not good. I have a soft spot for it, and that soft spot basically held me back from even bothering to watch the new one because I was like, well, we don't need this. And like, as soon as look, if Kenny Loggins is not releasing his album as the soundtrack for the movie, then why are we even bothering? What is the point?
I feel like we're leaning towards Footloose. I'm hearing a lot of Footloose.
Yeah, let's go with Footloose.
All right,
see what happens.
Let's do it.
Footloose.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey!
Boom!
Look at that,
guys. Well done. Just so you know,
look at how weird these movies are. Oh, nice.
San Andreas is at 14. There you go. Wow. No, seriously, this is a great selection of movies.
So hold your breath being the weirdo there, like the super high one out of
Yes.
nowhere. And Zoom, how is Zoom so high compared to some of these?
I know. I can't.
Zoom higher than Eagle Eye? What are you talking about?
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap this episode up. Let me pull my notes up to see what I have to say at the end real quick. I think we're just closing out. Plugs. Let's do some plugs. Anything that you guys want to call out that you're working on or that will be publishing soon? Elizabeth, we'll start with you.
Let's see. Well, right now it's just kind of preparing for all the films in August, and then TIFF time.
TIFF. Yes.
Yeah.
Are all of us going to TIFF?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're all going. Yes.
We're all going.
So my current watch list on Letterboxd right now is currently sitting at I think 38 films. So right now I'm just waiting on the schedule. The only thing that disappoints me is the lack of horror in the lineup at TIFF.
Even for Madness,
So-
right? Even Madness.
Yeah,
feels-
Midnight
Even for
Madness.
Madness.
It's all
Madness
these
is more
action
action.
comedies, and I'm
Yeah.
where's the horror? Give me horror.
Yeah.
So,
Plus,
yeah.
Madness
So-
has
All right.
Sundance stuff too, right? Wasn't Dead Lover one of them?
Yeah,
Like,
Dead
I already
Lover
Yeah,
was,
Dead Lover,
and that's been
yeah.
hitting
It was-
every single festival.
I was surprised that TIFF was having
I
it
feel
too.
like I dodged a bullet from not being able to catch Dead Lover at Sundance.
There were like 10 people in that P&I screening that I went to, and like 3/4 of them walked out. It was like me, like Jared, and then like maybe 3 other people that were just having a blast. Like they were like dying laughing, but
Yeah.
people walked out of that one.
You should have been at the world premiere. Obviously they know what movie they made, and so at the world premiere at midnight, I was there, and the walkouts on that film it just got exponentially more and more as the movie went on.
Was it
So,
like Cool Man
you-
levels
when-
of walkout?
Oof.
So I wasn't that cool, man, but like I think when you go to a world premiere and you know the actors are there, you know they're going to do the Q&As, and the directors and everyone are there, you don't want to be the one that walks out. But as soon as one person walks out, then everyone else starts thinking
once
about
that seal
it.
gets broken, that's
But it's crazy to
And
me with
so,
like a
like-
premiere. Like most of the people there like paid and bought tickets
Yeah.
to go, and like you
Yeah.
walk out. Like I can't imagine. Like if I paid for these tickets,
No
there's
way.
no way. And even when I don't, and I'm at the P&I screening, I'm not walking out. Like I'm there to
I'm
see
such
it.
a
So, like,
completionist too. Like
Yeah.
I will suffer until the credits roll. I'll be the first one up as soon as the movie's over, but I have to.
Right.
I have to. If it starts a suffering experience, I have to just sit in my poor decisions. That's how I felt.
It's like
Yeah.
that's how I am. Like I will only leave a screening if I get sick during it.
Yes.
Which
Yep.
I think I've only done
Mhm.
once.
Yep.
But yeah.
You guys are so much better than I am. I'm a horrible person. I will walk out.
Yeah.
My time is valuable. I gotta go. There's another screening happening in 15 minutes, and you know what? I think I'd rather be at that.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
weird.
and then just getting ready for August films where next week is The Naked Gun
Oh, that's
and then
right. yes.
Weapons.
Oh,
And then I'm very much
that
so
trailer,
looking forward-
real quick, sorry,
Yeah.
not to vamp on too long, but that trailer for Weapons keeps trying to get a hold of me, and I have managed to escape it. I have
Yes,
Yeah.
I have not watched it. I will
have
not watch
only
that
seen
trailer.
the teaser that reveals absolutely nothing,
Mhm.
and I have somehow managed to avoid. It has come on. Even my girlfriend, who doesn't watch horror or anything like that, it has come on just regularly, and I have literally plugged my ears and closed my eyes and just told her to tell me when it's over because I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything. Just give me the log line, and that is it.
Yeah, and then what was it? Caught Stealing and then The Toxic Avenger.
Mhm.
So
Lots of content coming from Elizabeth over at the celluloid correspondent. Alyssa, what do you have going on? What would you like to plug?
Yeah, so similar kind of pre-prepping ahead of TIFF, and so I've got my review of Fantastic Four coming out soon. I just released a review that was actually from TIFF last year, but it's finally getting a release in like a week or two for Sketch. I don't know if you guys remember Sketch from TIFF at all, but I liked that one, and it's finally coming out. And so I've got that review up on the channel right now. And I'm going to have a couple others that are coming out soon from Sundance, movies like Twinless, and I can't even think of them. There's like 2 or 3
Thomas's
others
favorite
like,
movie.
from that thing.
Thomas's favorite movie.
So yeah, that'll be on the channel at mainly movies. So YouTube, but then all of the social medias as well.
Nice. Derek, what would you like to plug?
Yeah, obviously just check out reviews on nerdbot.com. Check out all the stuff we have at ForReel. Same kind of thing, just crossing off all the Sundance stuff and getting everything out for August before I start blasting publicists to send me screeners for curtain raisers. And then my life is basically from I don't know what, mid-August to the end of September is just TIFF, and that's it. I don't watch anything else. It's just all TIFF movies, which is why I'm so glad I was able to actually go to Sundance and see a bunch of stuff that's basically releasing in August and September. So all I have to do is write about it. I don't actually have to watch extra movies because I will not have time. So
for sure. The ForReel team has been putting out a bunch of content, so you can find reviews from the team over at thisisforreel.com. ForReel, of course, but FORREEL. I'm going to spend this next few weeks catching up on interviews that I did at SIF and Tribeca. So I still have a bunch of interviews to publish from those. I need those done before TIFF, because then my life is going to be TIFF. So those will be coming out, and of course we have these podcasts that you can listen to wherever you stream, mainly YouTube though, YouTube and the website. So anyway, guys, thanks again for this. Was a great conversation. I really enjoyed this, and so I'll probably be having you guys on again pretty soon for TIFF and other podcast opportunities. But for everyone listening, thank you so much. This has been All My Friends Are Movie Fans of ForReel original podcast series. If you are a movie fan, you should be one of our friends too. Make sure to connect with all of us in the links in the descriptions, and tune in again next time.